you hear me now? Yes, can you hear me? RP Facts, hello, hi. So thank you so much for joining my session. So please do like, share and subscribe. So am I audible right now? Yes? Okay, so then we'll be talking about the taxonomical aids, the one which helps in your taxonomical classification, and with this we sign off with the chapter, right? So it's a very small topic. So let me do a very quick revision. We'll be done in half an hour. So let me tell you what are the topics that you have to pay attention, what are the last minute things you have to remember, right? So that is all. So for example, if tomorrow is your NEET exam, so today if you have to sit down and revise, what are the topics you have to revise? So that I will tell you for each chapter. So please make a note of it. All right, yes. All right, so we have someone called Suganti. Hello, hi, welcome to my session. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. So I'd like to see a lot of new faces, so it gives me a lot of energy. So thank you, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Okay, so here we move. So first of all, we in this chapter describes about the features of living and non-living, right? So I have the features here. I have how it is related to living beings and how it is related to non-living beings. So first is growth, reproduction, metabolism, response to external stimuli. So your first chapter, when it talks about the features of living and non-living, it talks about 4 features. You have to remember the 4 features. So does growth happen in both living and non-living? The answer is yes. So growth happens internally in living organisms and externally in non-living organisms like the Mars and the mountain. So it cannot be a very unique feature only to living beings, right? So we rule that off. So we come to the next one. The next one is reproduction. Right, so all living organisms do not reproduce. I hope you agree. So you have your mules, you have your drones, you have your infertile couples who cannot reproduce, right? So again, this is ruled out. Though non-living things cannot reproduce, not all living things can reproduce, right? So this is also ruled out. The next one is metabolism. So chemical reactions in the body is metabolism. So metabolism happens only in a cell. So metabolism does not happen in a non-living thing. But here there's a small twist. So if I put a reaction or reactants in a test tube, will it still work? So then what do I call? So metabolism can happen outside the cell only when it is stimulated. In a cell, you and I are not stimulating, okay? So the next one is response to external stimuli. Only we living organisms respond to external stimuli, right? So if someone is going to come and hit you, so you know how to defend yourself, right? So that is not possible in case of a chair, in case of a stone, etc. So what about coma patients? So in coma patients, the brain is dead, but all the other body parts are still working. So they do not come under the non-living category. They do respond to the external stimuli in terms of evolution. Alright, yes, ma'am, kindly do PYQ from the last 30 years. Oh my god, last 30 years PYQ want me to do. So Pranav, so anyways, thank you so much for joining my lecture today. So please do like, share and subscribe. So let me tell you, Pranav, so I started with one shot series today. So give me another 5 days, including, so let's take 30 days, including all the Sundays and all the other days. So I need 30 days to finish this one shot revision of all the topics. So remaining last 10 days, I will do your PYQs if needed. Okay, so let's finish off this one shot series for all those who have decided to omit some topics. So I'll make sure they read it first and then I'll do PYQ, because before this I've been doing some sessions like the PYQ. So that is why I start off with the final revision. All right, yes. Okay, so this is done. So we go. So what is the mode of reproduction? How do different organisms reproduce? So this has been given in your NCERT. So there is a high chance that this comes in the form of match the following. Okay. Right. So in the previous slide, I told you mules, sterile worker bees, infertile human couples do not reproduce. These are exceptions and I want you to remember these exceptions. Right. Okay. So which organism reproduces by which mode? So fungi reproduces through asexual spores, and this is also one way because in biological classification we'll be talking about fungi. So it's better you remember it like this: fungi reproduces through asexual spores, yeast and hydra through budding, right? So planaria, which comes under the phylum Platyhelminthes, so that undergoes fragmentation. It is known for its regeneration capacity in animal kingdom, so that is important. Filamentous algae, Proteinema of moss. So Proteinema is a stage in the development of a moss which we will see in plant kingdom, so that also undergoes fragmentation. So you can club these two and write fragmentation. Unicellular algae, bacteria, amoeba, they increase in cell number. How? One mother cell divides to give two daughter cells, right? So that is how they increase in cell number. This is very important. So there are certain terms that I want you to remember here. So the certain terms that you will come across in your NCERT, and sometimes a question can come depending on your luck, right? So diversity is variety. When I say biodiversity, it is a variety in the living organisms, right? So the number and types of organisms present on earth is your biodiversity. What is nomenclature? A naming ceremony. So when a new child is born, so you call the relatives, you call your friends, and you name the child, right? So when a new organism is discovered, so you have to name it. So how will I call it everywhere around the globe? So today I know this is an elephant throughout the globe, right? It's not an elephant in India, it's not a cheetah abroad, right? So it has a common name. So I am known as Krishna throughout. So it's not that I have a different name here, I have a different name elsewhere. So all my documents carry the name Krishna, right? So you have to name it, that is nomenclature. But before you name it, there are certain things you have to identify, right? So for example, sometimes you name it with respect to the color. Sometimes when you have to name a baby, you look into the eyes of the baby and you name it Meenakshi, right? So if its eyes are like the eyes of the fish, so these are very common, right? So sometimes depending on the color of the baby, the hair of the baby, so depending on the physical features, you name an individual. So similarly for organisms also, you have to do some identification and classification. So first is you have to identify, you have to have a description of the organism. So if I want to name elephant, so first of all I look into how big the organism is. So what are the features of the organism, right? So then I'll classify whether it comes into huge mammals, whether it comes to microorganism category, so whether it comes under birds, so I will classify, right? So that is classification. And how do I name? So for example, I am named Krishna, but when you name a biological being, like we come under the name Homo sapiens, all dogs have a name, but I have named my dog Brownie, right? So it can be in that way. So every plant is, so for example, I have a mango tree, I say mango tree, but binomially it is known as Magnifera indica, right? So there's a way in which you write your name. Like all of you have a surname, right? So binomial nomenclature, providing a name with two components, bi is two, right? So this is how, these are some of the abbreviations that I want you to remember. So sometimes they might ask you for the abbreviations ICBN, ICZN, so please look into them. Yes? Catalyst, so out of nowhere, where did you bring that word catalyst from? So can you tell me the sentence where you read catalyst? Catalyst can be the genus name of something. Anyways, Gautam, welcome to my session. So please do like, share and subscribe. So moving further, so how do you write the binomial name? So binomial name has two components, the genus name and the species name. So how do you write? The first letter of the genus name has to be in capital, the second letter of the second word's first letter should be in small. If you write it in hand, so you have to underline it separately, right? So that is how you do. So now what is taxonomy? Ma'am, catalyst means some catalog. Okay, so it's a type of taxonomical aid. We are coming to catalog. So if you want, if I'm right, if I caught you right, if it's catalog, so we are talking about catalog. So that is a type of taxonomical aid that I'll discuss now. Right? So what is taxonomy? The process of classification is your taxonomy. So if I classify 5 things into 5 different groups, so each one is called as a taxon. So suppose if I am classifying Plantae, Animalia, Fungi, so each one is a particular taxon. Okay, on what are these being classified on? So I should have a criteria. If your NEET exam, if your NEET counseling is being done, so it has a particular criteria. It allots seats based on a particular criteria, based on a particular property or feature, right? So what are the features here we are classifying? External and internal features, the structure of a cell, developmental process, how it develops. So humans take 9 months of gestation period to have a fully developed fetus. So how it is in case of these organisms. What is the ecological information? For example, we evolved so many years before. So we had early man, we had the Neanderthal and us, right? So all this matters. Now what is systematic? So this is derived from the Latin word that is systema, right? So thank you so much, Gautam. So you enjoy my teaching. Thank you so much. Okay, so systematic arrangement of organisms is systematics, fine. So anything and everything, when you do it in order, that is systematics. So since here you are classifying things in a systemic way, it is systematics, fine. So this includes identification, nomenclature and classification. So basically under taxonomy, you have to first name it. So for naming it, you have to identify and classify it, right? So all that comes here. So evolutionary relationship between organisms also matter. For example, our ancestors are monkeys and apes, right? So they also matter here. Who is your nearest ancestor? So what are the different taxonomic categories? So the system of arranging different categories or ranks is taxonomic category. For example, when you talk about a school, the first rule or the power is with the principal, right? Yes. So she occupies the first position. At home, say for example, you are 4 in number. You have your father, your mother, your brother and you, right? So the first position, the decision authority lies with your father, right? So that is your taxonomic rank. So which rank each one occupies. So ascending or descending order is the taxonomic hierarchy. So the first one, the highest one on top and the lowest one at the bottom. So this method of arrangement is hierarchy, okay? Yes. So each category is called as a taxon. So see, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So this occupies the highest position and this occupies the least position. So this is the order in which it is written. So this is your taxonomic category. So and it is written according to the taxonomical hierarchy. Fine? Yes? So, if you look into this, this is what is very important in this chapter. Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So, this is the highest one. So, this is the highest one and this is the lowest one. So, as it comes up, right? So from the species to the kingdom, when it comes up, the similarities decreases. When it goes down the hierarchy, the similarities increases. So this is what I want you to remember. Fine? Yes? So we move further. Okay, so first of all, we are talking about species, the smallest unit of your taxonomical hierarchy. So TH is your taxonomical hierarchy. So they are morphologically similar individuals. So species interbreed among themselves to form an offspring. For example, a Labrador dog is a species, golden retriever is a species, both are of the same species, right? So they breed or they mate among themselves to give you a new offspring, right? Yeah, so example, Solanum nigrum, Solanum melanogena. If you see, they come under the same genus, but the species differ, right? So this is your Solanum nigrum and your brinjal is your Solanum melanogena. In case of animals, Homo sapiens, Homo, we come under the same genus, they are sapiens, they are erectus, fine? So examples are very, very important. So next is genus or genera. Genus is singular, genera is plural. Group of species is your genus, fine? So related species which are more common in character come under a genus. For example, you have Panthera. So everywhere you have this term Panthera. Panthera leo, Panthera tigris, Panthera pardus, right? So this is your leopard, this is your tiger and this is your lion. So they all come under the same genera. Fine? Clear? So in case of plants, Solanum tuberosum, Solanum melanogena, again the same example you can take, they still come under the same genus, right? So next is family. So group of related genera forms a family. For example, Solanaceae is a family, and I hope you remember this family from morphology, right? So it has three genera under it. This is a family. So family has Solanum, it has Petunia, and it has Datura, right? Solanum melanogena. Solanum is one genus. Petunia is another genus. Datura is another genus. So this comes under one family. So, right, in case of animals, so you have your dogs. Dogs come under the family Canidae, and cats come under the family Felidae, right? So they are two different families. The next is order. So group of families form an order, right? So Polymonials is an order. Solanaceae, Convoluaceae comes under the same order. So this is one family, this is one family. So group of families make up an order, right? So Carnivora is an order, and then Felidaceae, Canidaceae, these are two different families, cat family and dog family, they come under the same order, right? So class, group of orders make a class. So class Mammalia, so this has your Primata and Carnivora. So this is your order Primata, this is your order Carnivora, right? So the examples are important, phylum and division. In case of plants we say division, in case of animals we say phylum. So phylum Chordata or Angiosperms, which has only your flowering plants, right? So this is your phylum and this is a division, division is in plants. The last one is your kingdom. So kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia, this is the highest in your taxonomical hierarchy, right? So the last topic that we are going to discuss now is your taxonomical aids. Was the quick revision helpful? You had an idea, okay, yeah, this all comes in this chapter. Yes, now I am able to recollect. If you are able to recollect, well and good. So that is what I want you to do. So I want you to able to revise everything and make sure you are able to recollect it properly. That is what is important, and that is how you revise. So in the name of revision, you will not take your book and sit for hours together. That's not going to help. So your revision has to be very active, okay, right? So what are the different taxonomical aids? So aids is an English term which means to help. Can you aid me with this task? So can you help me with this? So taxonomical aid, so the one which helps in taxonomical classification. Taxonomy is classification or categorization, right? So herbarium, botanical garden, museum, zoological park, keys are different taxonomical aids. So once again we have 5 taxonomical aids. The first one is your herbarium, botanical gardens. So I hope you have been to botanical gardens and seen enough botanical gardens. Yes, there are few of them. So museum, I hope your school would have taken you to at least one museum, right? So museum is we are so fond of museum when you are in school. So museum I think you have done, and zoos, I hope at least everyone would have visited one zoo in your life. So where you see caged animals, so zoo. So what is new to you here is your herbarium and your key, which I will explain, right? Yes? Okay, so this is your herbarium. So suppose if I spot a new plant anywhere which has not been described before anyone, how will I let the world know that I have found it? How will I let them know the plant looks like this? So I have to do some efforts, right? So that is my herbarium. I take a plant, right? So herbarium is a storehouse of collected plant specimens that are dried, preserved on sheets. So for example, do I have the steps? Yes. So first I collect the plant. Once I collect the plant, I dry it, because the more moist it is, it will attract more insects. So I have to evaporate the water. So I dry the plant, right? Then I poison it. Why do I poison the specimen or the plant or the particular sample that I have? Is that no animals or insects should eat it later, right? So when you put an old book inside your shelf, so sometimes you can see small silver beings running over it in your old storeroom. So that should not be there, because it will eat off my specimen, right? So I poison it with mercury chloride. Then I mount it, meaning I put it on the paper, right? Then I stitch it, then I label it first, and then I deposit in the nearby library. So if anyone else wants to refer it, they can refer it from me. Then I will do the labeling properly, where it was found, what is its name, what is the height, what is the flower, etc. That is your herbarium, right? So the next one is your botanical garden, the collection of living plants for reference. So you have a botanical garden in your Kolkata, so in Coimbatore if you have been. So botanical gardens are very beautiful. Then museum, collection of preserved plant and animal specimens for study. So you should have gone to a lot of museums. So you have a museum where? So where I have been to a museum, so I guess a lot of places, right? So wherever you have a palace, you have a museum, right, if I'm right. So I guess yes. So you would have seen old dinosaur skeleton. Where did you find in a museum for the first time, right? Yeah, so you'll be able to recollect. And the last one is, I guess, yeah, these are some of the botanical gardens. Royal Botanical Garden, Kew, England. Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah, India. So National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. So these are some of the famous ones. So the zoos, so I guess you know zoos, you bring animals and put it in a cage and you keep it under human observation, right? So that is your zoo. So I guess you've gone to a lot of zoos, right? So where all you have been to a zoo? So it is up to you. You can write any number of zoos. Ma'am, I've been to this zoo, Mysore zoo. Yes, fine. So that's up to you. So this is the newest part. What are keys? Okay. So it is used for the identification of plants and animals based on similarities and dissimilarities. So it is a key. So what is a key? So key is used to unlock something. But here it is not a key to something, but this key has two set of statements, right? So it has one positive statement, it has one negative statement. These two statements are together called as a couplet. So 2 is a couple, right? So since there are two statements, it is called as a couplet. So if there is a couple, the couple will have a name, right? The couple X, so the couple consists of X and Y, that is a couple. So here also when I have a couplet, each statement is given a name called as the lead. So each statement in a couplet is called as a lead. For example, statement 1 or lead 1 says the organism has body hair. Statement 2 says the organism has no body hair. So I can choose any one of the statement to classify my particular sample, right? That is your key. Clear? And key is always analytical in nature. It is based on proper analysis, right? So just like that, I cannot write anything. That is very important, right? So apart from that, you have what is monograph, you have what is manuals, you have your flora, and you have your catalog. All these also help in your taxonomical aids. So Gautam, so you have your catalog here. So we'll start with monograph. So mono is one. So it gives you information about only one particular taxon. Manuals, they are useful for identification of names of species found in an area. So when I give you a manual of how a washing machine works, so it talks about everything in and out of whatever the washing machine that you have purchased. So how to connect it, how to install it, how to use the various options in the washing machine screen. So you have all that in a manual. So similarly, it gives you the names found in the entire area. Flora, so flora and fauna. So flora is plants, right? So habitat and distribution of plants in a given area, that is by flora. The last one is catalog. It's the list that enumerates methodologically all the species found in an area with a brief description, meaning it involves both flora and fauna. So that is your catalog. So aren't we done with this revision, quick revision in just 30 minutes? It's not even 6 now, right? So I have two questions for you to make sure you have understood. So here we are. The label of a herbarium sheet does not carry which of the following? The date, the name, the local name, the height of the plant. And this was a question that was asked in NEET 2016. So any guess? So you will not mention the height of the plant, whereas you will write the date on which it was collected. You will write the name, who collected it, right? That matters. The local name, for example, Magnifera indica is a binomial name. Mango tree is the local name, is the common name, right? So that is there. So the right answer here would be D. The next question is match the following. Yeah, so this is where Even living world can seem difficult, right? But it's very easy if you understand. So, phylum Arthropoda, we have done animal kingdom, right? Class Insecta, class Insecta comes under your Arthropoda. Family ends in AC, so Mucidae. So, remaining is this. So, A is 3, B is 1, C is 4, yes, and D is 2. So, the right answer is option A. So, this is how the match the following can come, right? So, with this we come to the end of the revision of this chapter, the first session of your final revision series. So, tomorrow I will be meeting you at 5:30 for the next chapter, that is biological classification. So, I hope you were able to revise the entire chapter along with me and it was pretty easy for you. So, I hope this is a beneficial session for you. So, it's a humble request. So, this particular video on heat box has been uploaded in all the channels of eCareerPoint. So, please do watch to know what is the trending topic around you. So, what is this heat box? So, the name sounds tricky. So, you have heard something very common to that, that is the monkeypox. So, please watch this video to find more about the heat box, right? So, it's my humble request. So, please do watch it. And I would like to also say, for all those who do not know the atmosphere of Kota, what Kota is all about. So, should I actually come to Kota for an offline coaching or not? So, you people who are willing to take a year drop and study, or all those who are after 10th standard coming to 11th standard, moving to 11th standard, are in a decision about whether you have to move into Kota or you have to stay in your house and take online coaching. So, it's a very good opportunity. So, we at CareerPoint on 8th of June live in the CP auditorium. So, you have our MD talking on the 6.5 mantras of success just for students, and even parents are invited. So, it's a live event. So, you don't have to open your laptops, your phones for it. So, all you have to do is arrive at Kota with your parents to know what the atmosphere of Kota is all about. So, we have the legendary motivational speaker here. So, he's gonna interact with students on 8th of June. So, there are some things which you never want to miss, right? So, like I never miss the favorite talk of my author, right? So, I would say for students who are particularly in this field going after competitive exam, so this is a session that you should never miss. So, it can bring a life-changing spark in you. So, make sure you attend this event on 8th of June, and if you come, you also have a chance of meeting us. So, you have your entire online faculties here, so you can meet us, right? So, it's my humble request, so please do come and know what all about life is. So, that's very important. So, with this, we'll end today's session. So, if you genuinely liked my way of teaching, so please do like, share and subscribe. So, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned till tomorrow 5:30 p.m. So, I'll come with the next chapter for final revision, that is biological classification. So, until then, this is me signing off. So, take care and bye. Thank you.